Hello everybody, it's the Last Raider. We are back with another video. So Neil Druckmann has apparently very thoroughly shot himself in the foot yesterday. I reported on that. Where he went out there and called anyone with any kind of a critique. Mind you, some people critique The Last of Us Part 2 based on story. They say the story really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Some people critique it on the way that Joel died. They want him to die better than what he did. Those people who probably did buy the game and had a critique about it after they bought it, Neil Druckmann basically comes out there and tells everyone to vote for The Last of Us Part 2 in the Gamers Voice Awards because that would hurt the haters. And by doing so, he labeled anyone with even a minute critique, or even people with a legitimate critique, who probably aren't even homophobic or transphobic if those critiques actually existed, labeled them all as haters and bigots, pretty much. Now, I'm sorry if you have a reason based on story or how Joel died, you have a legitimate critique, in my opinion. Okay, but to call you a homophobe and a transphobe because you didn't like the way that Joel died, and that was just you didn't like how he died, that kind of ticks people off. Well, it ended up backfiring really badly. He ends up losing the award, and he really wanted this award because this particular award would be that proof that yes, Last of Us 2 was a superior game. What ends up beating it? Well, apparently Ghost of Tsushima comes out there and they unleash a bonsai charge like Neil Druckmann has never seen. In fact, I doubt we have seen a bonsai charge like this in history. Okay, so bad it actually knocks out the site. They're voting so hard. In fact, in this particular article here, you're going to see they talk about in different areas. I'm going to explain what that usually means. But going on here in Gadget Crutches, because everybody's all the gaming journals are saying this right now. Because this is not so much Neil Druckmann right now. This is just the after effect of what Neil Druckmann has done. He has not just somehow managed to shoot his own dick off, he's managed to hit the dicks of every game journo in the process. It's amazing. Watch this. It seems angry fans hacked the 2020 Game Awards vote. No, they didn't. But game journals want this to be a hack. They don't want it to be wrong. Because here's the thing. Why do companies, and I'll ask this question, why do gaming companies, keep giving free stuff and asking game journos to review their crap a lot of times? Because they think game journos have their finger on the pulse of gamers. That's why you're seeing all this political shit come into video games. Because the people that the corporations have been depending on for the last 10, 15, almost 20 years have been injecting their own politics in, and by default, because the corporation who makes the games looks at them and says, hey, you know what? They're doing all this socialist crap. Maybe we should put it in our video games. And we begin to see the results of that experiment, which are, nobody really likes that. It's just these people. So it's creating a problem now. This is why they're trying to say it's hacked, because if there's a fan vote, and the fans voted for Ghost of Tsushima, and the rest of the votes, which I've said in my last video, they're mostly 90% game journos and game critics, all the people that companies trust to give them, some type of who they base their games off of, because they're not basing games right now off of gamers. Most companies are basing them off of game journos and what they're writing about, because they think, well, if that's what they're writing about, we'll put that in our video games, and it's not working, it's not selling. Now they're seeing what the fans actually think, and the problem here is with sites like Kotaku, many others, Joystick, a lot of those, one of those things that I will say is they have enjoyed for a long time being kingmakers for video games. And now the market is shifting. As it turns out, any person who's a video game nerd or a video game geek or a gamer or a games enthusiast, pick your label, okay? Pick the label you want to be. Any one of them can get on YouTube and start reviewing video games and start getting free shit from a company. Now, why is that? Because companies are finding out now that these independent content creators on YouTube, myself included, I'm just starting out, but hey, we're getting there. These people who go in there and do game reviews and everything else, they're proving to companies that they can make them more money. Now, when you are in a position like Games Journal, where you're the kingmaker, and suddenly all that power starts to leave and someone else starts to become kingmaker, you start coming up with some really weird stuff. And that's where we are right now. It seems angry fans hacked the 2020 Game Awards vote. Let's go in and jump into this article. For this edition of Game Awards, the organizers decided to give fans a voice and vote with the Player's Voice category, which allows the community to choose their favorite game of 2020. I'm betting that's going to be gone by next year. Just watch. Game journals are gonna bitch about that to the point the guy running this is gonna shut this down. That said, it seems that some were not happy with how things, since apparently the vote was hacked. Now, mind you, we have no proof that this was hacked. The only proof that they're going to give in this article is a blackout. That happened at one point. The guy that owns this award, that runs it, he's come out and said they've done an investigation. They found no source of hacking. But if Games Journal's game does not win when they want it to win, it must be hacking. Okay? Here we go. What happens is that the Player's Voice Award is already in its third and final round. In it, Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, and The Last of Us Part 2 are vying for public preference. Yeah, there's only probably one or two of those games worth it. If you go to see the results right now, you will see that Ghost of Tsushima has 100% of the votes. It is a situation that is not possible since a few hours ago, The Last of Us Part 2 was dominating with 44% of the votes, while Ghost of Tsushima had 33% of the public's preference. Now, there's a kicker here. Note they say this is the third round. What they're probably doing is they're doing this in different rounds. And usually when you do something like this, you'll have one round of voting, you'll lock in those votes. Then you'll restart and you'll lock the second round of votes. Then the third round will come in and those votes will be locked. Mind you, usually when they do like different rounds of voting, they will reset the voting after they've locked in and recorded what the numbers are, what the percentage is. So as you go along, you're going to get different percentages in different rounds. This does not prove that there was a hack. It proves that round 1, Last of Us Part 2, was leading. Possibly leading at round 2. But about round 3, Ghost of Tsushima was getting all the fucking votes. Okay? Third round, Ghost of Tsushima got everything, and apparently that was the tilt breaker right there. That was the straw that tilted everything in its favor. It's now ended up winning. This is the proof that they're throwing out there. No, it's not. Okay, what happens is, but each round they're gonna go and get the percentages of what they've got. They're gonna tally up each individual round, and then just do that way. It sets it down to like a very simple 3-part math equation that can be done fairly quickly. Lots of places do this. It's one of the for those that are wondering, if you're going by like American elections, we usually tally up the votes by county, and then each state will get a column of the votes, what the votes are in each county for what candidate. They then do a quick they punch the numbers in, do a quick mathematical equation, some simple addition. Boom, they've got the state. Then they turn around. They know who's won those areas. Then they turn around. They put forth their electoral college crap and everything else. But most of it starts on a local level. It starts on like a county level. That's what this basically is. For the entirety of this, I'm guessing whoever wins specific rounds, they're gonna multiply up or add up all of the votes and everything, and that's gonna bring you to your final tally, and that's gonna determine who wins. Well, apparently it wins Ghost of Tsushima. Anyway, even these people they're saying the hack has not been confirmed and is only a theory. Oh, really? Really? Because just up here, you were saying that it was hacked. So if it's amazing how these people work, because they're like, this has to be hacked, but then they're saying everything indicates someone decided to alter the website of the Game Awards 2020 to try and give a unanimous victory to Ghost of Tsushima. Mind you, I've not stated that anyone had. There's not a way you could have removed the votes. I'm saying that Ghost of Tsushima at the last hour got so many votes it tipped it into their favor. And this is on the last percentage run. Like I said, they're going to add all this up later to see what it has done. There's going to be 3 rounds of voting. They're probably resetting it, and that's why you're seeing such a discrepancy. It's nobody but Ghost of Tsushima fans are probably voting in the last hour, and nobody else is getting anything because Ghost of Tsushima. Let me explain this in a way of wise Japanese men. Ghost of Tsushima sell more copies than Angry Lesbian versus Angry Tranny. Ghost of Tsushima have more customers. Ghost of Tsushima have more votes. So all that happened. Well, mind you, this is all happening because Neil Druckmann went out there and decided to play chicken with a bullet and with a tweet in his nuts, and castrated himself and is causing journos problems. So now they're having to go in and fearmonger their way through stuff. But as they're saying right here, they're now saying, oh, there's no proof that it's been hacked. Well, actually, there's proof that it hasn't been hacked because the guy, like I said, the guy that runs it, he's come out in a tweet or come out on some site. Yellow Flash has had it. I couldn't find it, but he comes out and he says there was no evidence of hacking. Okay, it goes to Ghost of Tsushima. This is going to suck because when a company sees all these awards and they start asking questions. Who decides all these other awards that Last of Us Part 2 are getting? I'm going to say, games journos and game critics. And they're going to go, who determines the Player's Voice Award? That's 100% fan voted. The only thing that they're going to hear, a corporate guy is going to hear is 100% of customers voted for Ghost of Tsushima. While all these people that we've been trusting all these years to tell us what it is, what game is the best, are telling us it's Last of Us Part 2 is what the people want. When you have a vote by the people, you understand what the people want very quickly, especially when it comes to stuff like this. I tend to trust more player or actual customer votes than I do critic votes because most of your critics, like games journals, they're politically motivated. They want only something specific. When you have a PlayStation 5 review where the person has wrote in there about COVID-19 and the lockdown and the election and everything else, and you're like, I am probably going to buy a PlayStation 5 to forget about all that shit. Why am I hearing it in a why am I hearing it in a console review? Or how someone talks about how all the holes in the top of the Xbox causes some weird crippling some weird crippling disability that's not even recognized internationally. I mean, the people who study stuff, disorders, they don't even recognize your disorder as an actual disorder. Okay? Because they don't have any real proof that it is a disorder. You being afraid of holes. Mind you, this was a chick that wrote this. So, I mean, when she looks down in the shower, it must cause her all kinds of problems. Anywho, going on. And to you, what do you think of the new? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think games journos have been bitch slapped by the fans, is what I think. I think I think Neil Druckmann went in there, pissed them off, and the fans said no. All gamers said no. And a lot of gamers probably said, I think I've got some good critiques. I'm not a hater. I'm not a bigot. I just don't like the way Joel died. I'm a hater now. I'm some kind of bigot. Well, screw you, Neil Druckmann. I'm voting for Ghost of Tsushima. The thing is, he pretty much pissed him off. Ghost of Tsushima, like I said, and I've showed on this channel before. Empty copies, empty racks where Ghost of Tsushima is supposed to be at, where they're sold completely out. And The Last of Us Part 2 is just stacked. Okay, there's not just games, they're not filled to capacity in many instances. Not only was their rack filled to capacity, they had games sitting on top of the rack, on top of the games rack from the dispenser, and then had like 2 or 3 stacks sitting on the bottoms down there with games that were old from like 3 years ago that Walmart's trying to move right now by discounting them. And they had sold more copies than they sold more copies than Angry Lesbian versus Angry Tranny. Neil Cuckman and Games Journals are in this position because Neil Cuckman could not leave shit alone. Okay? Most of Naughty Dog's staff, from what I've heard, have left. In other words, it's not even the same company anymore. It's not even the same creative team anymore. Because everyone that was originally working on all the Naughty Dog games that we used to love have all been run off by this one stupid moron who cannot leave shit alone. Why they decided to put him in charge of anything, I don't know. Because this guy continuously seems to fail. Well, like I said, PlayStation and them, Naughty Dog probably isn't going to have a problem with this yet, because they still got their money from Last of Us Part 2. It's when Last of Us Part 3 or any other Naughty Dog titles try to come out that PlayStation says, we're not spending that much on your title because we ended up losing a lot of money last time. We bought your shit and tried to sell it, and it didn't happen. So you gotta bring something out there that the fans are going to demand now. But other than that, they'll probably buy half the games or maybe a quarter. And at that point, Naughty Dog is going to come out and go, we don't know what happened. We don't remember. Because they're not going to remember Neil Cuckman coming out here and insulting all the fan base. Anyway, folks, I'm Laz Raider. Tell me what you think about this. Is it how do you feel about this with Games Journals now claiming this awards vote was hacked? Even though, but here's the thing. Let me close on this. If I were going to hack the Game Awards, why in the fuck would I stop at just the player's voice? Why not just sweep the thing for Ghost of Tsushima if there's some kind of hack going on? Now, if you're hacking it, logic dictates if I'm capable of getting in there and manipulating the people's choice, then I'm probably able to manipulate all the other choices that are made, regardless of the game's journals. Why stop at just the player's voice? Why not just sweep the whole damn thing? And let me tell you, I wouldn't do that just to trick people into believing it. That wouldn't be my motivation. I would do that just to see Neil Cuckman melt down on Twitter about how his game lost everything. I would do it knowing full well I'm gonna get caught here for long, but I just want to see him suffer for a bit. I mean, that's me after getting my videos taken down and seeing every other YouTuber I follow getting their videos taken down. I would do that just out of spite, just to watch him spurred for a couple of days, knowing full well it was going to get corrected. But like I said, why stop at one? Why not just sweep the whole thing? Well, because it wasn't really hacked. All right. Usually when people do something nefarious, they go full overboard. If you're going to rob a bank, you don't take $100 out of there. You're going to take everything you can get. Anything you can carry out of that bank, you're going to take with you if you're going to rob it. It's got to be worth your while. Anyway, folks, like I said, tell me what you think about this in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. I do these videos as often as I can. And as always, stay safe, stay frosty. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye now.